Welcome back to the Autodesk booth. Welcome to the Maya Mixer. This is the beginning of the Maya Mixer. We're going to start mixing in a little bit.
Yeah, we're mixing.
But first, we're going to welcome Chris and Ian back up to the stage, the guys from Mainframe. How you guys holding up?
Good.
You got your beer.
Energy's back, yeah.
And I think that was the right move.
Yeah.
That was really the right move. So, so Maya Mixer is all about celebrating really what's happened with the new motion graphics tools that you guys created.
That's right.
That we're now celebrating. And boy, you should see the forums have lit up
it's
about
amazing.
this. Yeah. Have you heard about this?
We've got some good comments.
It's some really good comments. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
And we're going to celebrate.
The favorite comment that we've seen is someone who said, "I will prepare my hat for digestion."
That's good. They're going to eat their hat.
Yeah.
All right. So we knew it could be done, and you guys proved it. So with that, I really want to introduce Ian and Chris and thank them so much for coming all the way from Manchester, England, to show some really cool stuff. And this is a variation on your other demo, right? You guys are going to...
It's different, yeah.
A little bit different. So this is unique. For those of you watching on the area, you're going to see something new and something cool.
Yeah. So we thought it'd be a really good way to celebrate this union of minds in terms of Mainframe and Autodesk. And we just wanted to talk you through some of the things that we've put into this motion graphics tool set since we've joined forces with Autodesk. And a lot of these things have only really been possible because of this collaboration. And yeah, new and improved features. We've literally picked out, 8?
It was
things?
8. It was going to be 10, but we would have talked for too long.
Yeah, and they're just some of the new things that have come in and, as I say, that have been enabled. So first one is something called the repro. Now, the repro is basically an alternative to Maya's particle instancer, and it's an oxymoron, but it's a mesh-based instancer is the best way of describing it. And basically what this allows us to do is it outputs a mesh. So you put a mesh in to mash, this is a mouthful, and a mesh comes out. And then you can then plug in any Maya deformer, anything you want to do now with it, you can do with a mesh in Maya.
You can go straight back into another mesh network.
Yeah, exactly. So you can mash. We've brought in things like level of detail are now possible, so you can have sort of proxy objects and hook that up to a camera. We've been able to add time and color, and we've got a little bit on that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just feel for any questions, really. We just wanted to keep it quite conversational.
So this is what I call instant candy. So it's just it's a node. So this is it allows many different effects. And if you've seen our talk during the day, it allows you to connect all the mesh points together. It allows you to create trails behind the points. And this is the trails node hooked up to end particles. So it doesn't have to be hooked up to mesh. It talks to anything.
An independent node.
It's an independent node. Yeah, you can like the fall-offs. It just works with any node. And so in this demo, it's literally just been hooked up to an end particle system, which is just a menu option. Select it, hit a menu option, and it's done.
What have you got for me here? Color node. So this is something that we always wanted to do, but something that wasn't possible to create with the instancer. So that's where this kind of collaboration's really shown its strengths. And it's just allowing Mesh basically to drive the color information going in. So it's color per vertex. And you can create some really amazing things with this. It's really powerful. This can then be hooked up to velocity, other attributes in Maya, and you can just, it's procedural.
And it's color variation. If you've got several different objects and you want each of them to have just a slightly different color, you can just touch a slider and get little variations between each of your textures.
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
So UDIMs. This is an absolutely brilliant feature that came into Maya 1 or 2 versions ago, and it allows you to use just one shader and have many different textures assigned to it. And Mesh has the ability to give every single mesh point. So these cards are all mesh points. And every single one of them has a different UV tile. And you can assign these randomly, you can assign these in order, and you have complete control, really, over where they go. And so all of these cards, it's just one texture. One shader, sorry, I should say. And then what we're doing is, as it flips over, we're just changing the random seed. So it's each of the card changes as it flips over.
So again, there's loads of applications for that. You can any obviously input coming in can be UDIM'd out, and then you can just spread that across, thousands of objects.
Yeah,
if you
any
really want
variations. If you have,
Yeah.
say, a load of baubles or something, you want each one of them to be a different color, or you want each one of them to have a slightly different luster to them, and all that kind of thing, it can
Yeah.
just be done, and it can be done all inside the same shader.
Up next is the time node, and this is again something that's been made possible by the addition of the repro. So you just got one input object here. It's effectively this rounded cylinder, and then it's just 3 bend deformers, and they're grouped in, and they're then put onto the repro. And effectively, time just allows you to offset the animation. So you
Go on.
Sorry.
Just going to say, previously in Maya, what you had to do is snapshot. So every single frame of this animation would have had to have been a separate object in Maya, whereas now this is just one object. And then you can just hit a slider, and it just changes the time. Randomly, you can do it in order, you can stagger them. And also, really importantly, velocity.
Yeah. So if you had a flock of bats or something, and you maybe put those into the flight node, so they're all flying around, you can have the time node drive the speed based on the velocity that they're traveling. So you can it's a good example of how you can plug all these things in and they're all talking to each other. But yeah, it's a big deal. It's just one of those things you've now got one asset rather than
Makes it easier
however
to
many frames you'd need to do
remove
that.
steps from the process. So custom fall-off shapes. This is pretty cool. So the fall-off node in Mash is a volume effector, and what it allows you to do, affect it allows you to control where a Mash node has effect in a scene. So these can be circles, they can be spheres, they can be cubes, they can be curves, they can be meshes, and they can be particles. So what's happening in this scene is there's a grid of just a grid of planes that have been created in the Mash network, and then because this is a mesh, it's been turned into a rigid body. We've got some particles that are dropping down onto the plane, and as they drop down onto the plane, they activate the color node, which is what we showed earlier. And so
then there's a fade on the color node.
there is also a fade, on the fall off in this. So, and you have complete control over that, so you can control how quickly it happens, how slowly it happens, and all of this, you just drag and drop. That's it, nice and easy. No connections to be made, any of that kind of stuff.
So 3D maps. Obviously, 3D maps have been in Maya for a while, but it's something that's come into Mash. And so you can create very, very complex things, very quickly. So this is literally just a huge grid distribution of cubes, and then a visibility node, and we've just got a 3D map plugged into the visibility node, so it's just turning them on
just
and
a
off.
volume noise.
Noise, going in. And we use this on a project for an architectural firm, and they just wanted to show the massing of their building coming up, but they wanted something a little bit more interesting. And we use this technique basically to sort of grow things out of the ground. And it's as simple as you've got your projection, and you can just animate that, or you can animate the noise, and it's quick. Again, live in the viewport. Obviously, if you throw too much at it, things might slow down. But this was live in the viewport.
Yeah, and what's great about this is that these transitions with this building project that we're talking about here, where we use 3D noise on it, this was a junior who did it, and he did loads of work in one morning. He basically had the project finished. It was great.
He'd been with us for about a week, I think, and we said, "Can you do this?" And he looked at me and thought, "I can't do that," but he did. He did it. So
nice and easy, right? And the Python node. So this is kind of goes against what the motion graphics tools are all about, which is keeping everything really, really simple and friendly drag and drop sliders. It's all live. You hit play and you mess around with stuff in the attribute editor. But people kept asking us. We kept getting feature requests, very, very specific feature requests, like, can you do something that swaps all of the points over every so many frames? So you just choose a frame and then all of the points swap. Kind of like musical chairs kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they would ask for something that could you do a Mash node that built houses, or could you do a Mash node that did Lego blocks, and positioned them correctly? And all
really
that kind of
specific
thing.
things that people
really
wanted
specific
for one project.
Yeah, and the answer is, well, we can't. So because
it was about we didn't want to bloat everything.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
We really like how clear and how accessible and not overwhelming the whole tool set is. And so we decided to add this Python node, which allows you to effectively script your own Mash node, and you have access to all of the fall-offs as well. So it's really quite powerful. I mean, this is a relatively simple example, and in this scene, the height of the screw is determining, well, yeah, the screws rotate one way as they move up, and as they move down, they rotate counterclockwise, what is it? So they rotate the opposite way. And
righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is just one line of Python script, and it's really fast. It's a very, very fast node, because we take the Python and then it's executed for all the points at once. And we used to have, in the old version of Mash pre-Autodesk, we had a node that would run the Python script once for every point, very, very slow.
Is this one of those examples of where you're tricking artists to be technical?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're all examples of that. Really.
Yeah, I mean, you do, for this you do need to have some scripting knowledge, but this is one line, and I think those that can do that, they won't need to sort of say, how do I do this? They'll just go, okay, I've done it already, it's fine.
It's in case, you get things like where someone says, I want all of my animation, my objects that are moving around, I want it to look 8-bit or something, so everything just moves in whole numbers, so they slide across in blocks or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's no built-in feature that will do that, but you can very quickly just put something together, 2-3 lines of Python.
And we can see people sharing these kind of things as well.
Exactly.
Like we've done this, it's 2 lines, 1 line.
Yeah, one line.
That's so cool.
We can just share it, and someone can use it and customize it themselves. So,
and it's just, it adds the power. If somebody says, I can't find a feature that does this in the motion graphics tools, well, you can make it.
To us.
You can, you can make it if you want. So just, keeps that open-ended aspect to it.
So yeah, I think that's what we've got to offer, really. We just thought we'd just touch on the things that, as I say, that have come in that are new since we joined forces with Autodesk. So,
well, at this point, maybe we just open it up for questions. Actually, I think why not do something unprecedented? you guys are here. We're here. This is literally a lot of our team. Does anyone have any questions so far? No. Okay. Well, does anyone? Oh, Victor. Yes.
Yeah.
Already available.
Yeah.
As of yesterday.
It's in extension 2. Yeah.
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 So for subscription users.
Yes. Yeah.
Or subscription users. So get on subscription. So Daryl, did you have a question? What's the most interesting thing you've seen done with the new tools that you created so far?
Well, with the new tools, nothing, because they've just come out yesterday.
Well, with the existing tools.
The existing tools. I mean, there's been some really unusual things. We, Bot and Dolly, the robotics guys that, they worked on Gravity and did all that cool stuff. They used Mash to control a load of Sharpie lights. So they rigged this up in Maya. And then they had all their Mash points, on an Orient node. And the Orient node was basically a mirror ball on a robot in reality. And the Sharpie lights were all pointing, so shining, their lights on the mirror ball as this robot moved it around. And there's just loads of really unexpected things like that people are using, these tools for. And it's obviously not designed for that, but it can do that, and people can find interesting uses for
maybe that's the open aspect of it. One that Lawrence sent us, which I found was absolutely amazing, is that someone made a knitted top, like a jumper, actual jumper, using Mash, and they were using. I don't know how they did it. This is the thing. It took us ages to work out how they'd done it, but they said, they'd used Mash to create the weave in the jumper, and then it was so detailed. Like they'd actually managed to knit the collar into the actual main body of the jumper using Mash. What? Huh? And that's what's great. This is why, I'm so excited to see what artists come up with, because the people will think of all sorts of uses that we haven't thought of, like non-traditional uses, non-motion graphics uses for these tools.
Well, that's what you were saying before. It's not just pigeonholed into one type of work.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Well, motion graphics isn't one type of work in itself. So, I think it's really broad, and that's kind of what's interesting. It's because it's building blocks. Someone puts something in a different order and everything changes. So you've got something new again. And we keep sort of going, it should do this, and then it already does. That's cool. So
it's really exciting. Can't wait to see what happens. What happens next?
Yeah, we've let the genie out of the bottle now.
Yeah.
Let's see what comes
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, and with the time that we have left to actually do a mixer, let's mix with you guys. Introduce you to everyone. We're going to open the bar. Everyone can go have some nice foods coming around. And you can meet Chris and Ian. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You're more than
welcome. We're really excited to have
Thank
you with us. Yeah, and the best is yet to come.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, cheers.
Thank you.